maybe today as well as say probably tomorrow, named as database structures in PostgreSQL. Fine, and this would definitely address most of the things. Rather, we saw that practically, but now few things would be necessarily addressed in theoretical manner too. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the database structure, database cluster mainly. Okay, how exactly a database cluster can be, or what exactly database cluster is, what is the method to create an database cluster. Then we'll be creating data. We will understand what exactly the process is for creating database, and so on. Even would be talking about database schemas. Now, though I have added here table spaces, I would not be addressing that very soon. Rather, we definitely would be addressing that point some point of time at later stage. Fine. Okay. Yeah. So, so like this is the kind of database structure generally can be seen, no matter whether you have PostgreSQL or MySQL or something like that. Though it is trying to address most of the things in a Postgres manner, rather, like what are the diagram or a tree that I have drawn over here would be addressing Postgres basically. So let us say we have database server. Now this database server will have a cluster. Now this cluster can be created by the user, or by default a cluster would be added by the system whenever you install Postgres as a database. Okay, so either like there are two methods to install Postgres. One method that most of you applied to install the Postgres software using binaries. So you said apt get install PostgreSQL, and then you gave 11 or 12, 14, whatever. Correct. Other method is you can download the source code, and then after downloading that source code, you definitely can install through the source code. So always on Linux, there are two techniques to install your software. So either you install it through binary, or you install it through source code. Now source code installation is a bit tricky. Tricky in the sense, like it requires you to compile the code completely. Correct. So that means what? Say for example, like first of all, we have to see whether if at all I have to install a Postgres server, do I have all necessities that are required by the Postgres server are served or not? What are the dependencies are? Are they completed or completely available or not? So there is a command, okay, through which we can create a configuration file. So while you download the source code, you definitely will see there is a file called config. So you execute /configure on the shell after definitely in the directory where your source code is, and you need to be always root rather or a super user of Linux operating system. Now, what are the thing that is automatically done by Postgres? Everything is to be carried out by you. Now you must have seen while you installed Postgres, it automatically created a user called Postgres for you, correct? Then only what you did was you changed password of it. Recall the first session that we addressed. So we said sudo -s and then we said password Postgres. Ultimately, we changed the password of that super user of a database. Other thing is like we are using an operating system's user called root, which is the super user of your operating system. Now there are two types of users. One is the database user, other one is your operating system user. Now your super user for operating system is root, and ultimately you may have various users on your operating system too. Like for example, on my laptop, you must have seen I do use a user called Nitin. Correct? Root is there, Nitin is there. So when while I installed Postgres on my machine, ultimately it automatically created a user called Postgres, and it associated that installation process with that user. And that installation procedure was expected to be provided the path where the cluster should be. So database cluster is collection of database or databases and few other say catalog tables, important catalog tables like PG database, PG role, and so on. So like whenever you have to create, if at all you are going to create that database cluster manually, then the command that is supposed to be used is init db. So like for example, let me show you that. So we will not be using that right now, but yes, definitely that command is possibly used by us. Fine. Okay, so let me share my screen. Yeah. So if I write man init db, so this tells me that you can create a complete database cluster, PostgreSQL database cluster. So this is meant only for Postgres. There can be method specified by other databases too in this respect, like whether you will be permitted to create a cluster manually or not. So the GUI also possibly might be there. Now this initdb would be creating a PostgreSQL database cluster. A database cluster, now simple definition is this. A database cluster is a collection of database that are managed by a single server instance. What exactly we mean by single server instance? So let us see. So if I write ps-ejh, okay, and if I write there a grep Postgres, so you will see like there are these services running. Now this is a server instance for my laptop right now. Currently, whatever the log, whatever the method that I followed rather to log in with Postgres, I can see that there is an instance created of a database. And that cluster, now where is my cluster? So as per the definition of cluster, like when we see this init db, it said a database cluster is a collection of databases that are managed by single server instance. Now we already cleared this. What exactly do you mean by single server instance? So this is your single server instance. This is your single server instance. Next thing, sorry. Creating a database cluster consists of creating the directories in which database data will live, generating the shared catalog table belonging to whole cluster rather than to any particular database. So those tables are your PG database, PG user, and so on, as per the diagram that we saw earlier, like a tree structure. And creating template one and Postgres database for you. When you create a new database, everything in template one database is copied. Therefore, anything installed in template one is automatically copied into each database created at later stage. And that's what we saw. When we created a database, when we fired a command, ultimately we came to know that everything got copied automatically. This was done by the initial like the cluster creation method. Postgres database is a default database meant to use by users, utilities, and third-party applications. Now, when it says used by users, it should be used first time and when you're required, not every time. So like when classes are offline rather in the, and suppose I'm teaching this course in the class, I do always check abruptly anytime in between the class whether user is using which login, whether he or she is using Postgres or something else. So if I find that the person is using Postgres database, then that person is supposed to give a treat to the remaining students in the class, and it is compulsory for everyone. So I hope, like I assume, you most of you are working with your own user and not Postgres. Okay, so anyway, we would be testing that after you come back here, probably. Now don't ask me when. Okay, let me move further. initdb will attempt to create a specified data directory. Now, can you recall what was the data directory for our server? As per the installation procedure we carried out? Can somebody share with me? What was the database directory for your database?
Sir, var lib, then 11 main.
Okay, good.
Then
So Tanmay told me that the data directory name, what is the data directory name that was available there? Okay, var lib PostgreSQL 11. Yeah, even Chinmay shared it. Correct. So this, like if I see it would be stored till like this PostgreSQL 11. If I see the file rather, so let me go with Postgres as lay/etc/PostgreSQL /11/main/PostgreSQL.conf. So this file would be containing completely your what you can call it as details of where your data directory is, where your configuration directory is, and so on. Okay, so let me go here in this file. So if I go below, let me try one more time. If I go below now, so you can see that my data directory name is up till main only, no matter what is replaced there. In this case, we had 11, correct? For my laptop, it is 11. For your laptop, probably it also is 11. And some of you may have 11, 12, 13, or 14, whatever. It would be till this. So this would be your data directory. So this is a directory that initdb was talking about. Right. So when I go here, initdb will attempt to create a specified data directory. This is the data directory. So when you create your own, which we are not going to try in this semester, definitely not. Okay, because as hopefully if you are here, then one class we would be having dedicated for this, but not now. Fine. Okay. This okay, it might not have permission if the parent directory of the desired data directory is root owned. And that's what happens here. Like for example, you must have seen I logged in with Postgres user, correct? Here, purposefully. If I come out of it and if I say for example, let me go here and let me display this. Copy. Let me try this. Paste. So it is showing me because I'm having read permission. But if I subsequently say Emacs, then if I try to write there, you can see I'm trying to write. It says buffer is read only. You cannot make the changes. So if at all you have to make the changes, then you need to log in with Postgres user. Okay. Okay. Let us go back to that initdb part. Okay. So we understood. So like what is to be done is this thing. Okay. initdb must be run as a user that will own the server process. Now see here, one important thing. Okay. Now who is owning Postgres service? Who is owning Postgres service? The Postgres user. Correct. Now I can show you that. So remember this statement. What it says, to initialize in such a setup, create an empty data directory as root. Okay, first of all, then use change owner to assign ownership of that directory to the database user account. And what is your database user account? It is, say, for example, Nitin. Now you have to assign that through your change owner procedure. But right now we are not doing that. It already did that because we installed the software using Postgres software, Postgres binaries. Okay, we directly install it, apt-get install, and then PostgreSQL 11 or whatever. Now this initdb must be run as user that will own server process, and that's the important thing. Now whenever your service starts, so if I really see ps-ejh, okay, so let me write grep Postgres. Okay, so I do see these details, but if at all I want to see more details, so let us go to man ps. So let us see if we can get more details about it. 1 minute. Okay, so let us try this. If we can get it like this. Yeah. Yes. Now it says grep Postgres. I applied ps-u. So it says who is the user? Owner is Nitin. and Nitin owns this as a super user of the system. For your case, it would be your user. For your case, it would be your user. Right now, I do have this Nitin as owner of this process, and that's what it said. What are the process which is running as a server above? Like this was our server process 923, which you can see. Right? This 923 is owned by your user called Nitin. Correct? And like when we try to see the structure completely. Okay, okay. Let me go here first and let me try finding. Okay, let me skip this most of the information. Let me go back to what we were saying. Okay, where it is? Yeah, database structure. Yes. Let me stop sharing here. So we already saw like what is the process that needs to be applied. If at all I want to see where is the how the cluster is created. Yeah. Yes. So now we saw what that database cluster can contain. So database cluster would be containing your databases and the standard template tables, which would be used across any database. This database will contain, now I'm not talking basically about table space for a while, but this database contain tables, database schemas. Those database schemas are public, system catalog. There are different system catalogs and user defined. So how exactly you will see this? Like if at all I want to see majorly which are the schemas added, how exactly you will see that? Can somebody help me out? How can we see these schemas? Can somebody help me? Are there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so how will you see the schemas? So when you write /d, okay, then suppose you write say tab. Okay, let me show you what would be the basic things that you will require. How exactly you will be seeing the schemas. Now some schemas would be user defined, some schemas would be system defined. That's what we saw. Okay, if I press tab after /d, so you can see whatever is with dot, public, toast. Okay, we will be addressing this. Information schema, PG catalog, temp1. Okay, this was because we created a temporary table, or we might create a temporary table. But few of them would be like, for example, if I write PG catalog dot, then there are these many options. These are all belonging to the PG catalog category, PG catalog schema. So most of these relations, what are the relations that I do see? How I saw them? I wrote this command pg/d pg catalog dot pg underscore, and then I press tab. So it showed me, okay, how many possibilities? These many. So I got this. These all are belonging to PG catalog. This is the standard catalog schema. Okay, let me see another one. So let me say public now. If I press tab, so these are the belongings of that's public schema. Okay, so let me remove it. Let me write information schema. If I press tab, these are all elements from that information schema. Similarly, if I write /d tab, and then now let me write, we work with this information schema. We saw PG catalog, we saw PG's what information schema, we saw public dot, let us write /d PG underscore toast. And let me write dot. So it shows these are the elements from that schema, correct? Okay, so PG toast is done. So let us talk about now temp. Yeah, somebody was saying something. /d PG underscore. Okay, let us go with /d. PG underscore temp dot. Now there is underscore 1. I think we have that. So it is not showing because there is no table created for this schema. So if I see there is no table, so if I write create temp table x y integer. Okay, now if I write /d PG underscore temp, now it is showing me, right? So if I write 3 dot x, so these are 3 created. This one may not be accessible for me, so let me try 1 dot. It is not giving me access to this, so this is internal one, correct? So one can understand that it might be using it for creating other objects, creating copies of such an object. Fine, so let us go with this. So okay, we saw /d. So what was the remaining? We saw toast. So temp1, temp3, this would be for toast because temporary tables are created. Okay, temp3, temp1, PG catalog. Then we saw information schema and public. So these are your standard schemas of the system. Okay, so let me go back and see what the next things are. So now we saw these database schemas, correct? So we saw this database schema would be containing public, user defined also will be there, which we haven't added yet. We haven't added any user defined there. Okay, but we also saw system catalog, information schema, PG catalog, PG toast, PG temp, all these things would be from system catalog. And each of these schemas are going to contain database object definition. So these definitions may have, or this may contain tables, triggers, functions, permissions, and so on. What are the objects which would be possibly there, which can be added ultimately at that point of time by the system or for the system. Okay, is that fine? Any query till this? Any query about this?
No, sir.
Okay. Second part of this data, like when we say database cluster, there would be some standard rules. Okay, now if I write, say for example, PG database, you will see that it is from PG catalog. So let me see what all goes into PG catalog. So these all are belonging to that PG catalog. So database would be there definitely, and so many things. Correct. So whenever you talk about PG catalog, there would be so many things from that PG database which is stored into PG catalog thing. Ultimately, next thing would be like PG role, PG users. There would be majority of things other than this. So when I wrote here table, ultimately it may mean views too. So when we say table here, correct? So table would be there, triggers are going to be there. So table, that definitely means if at all views are, then those views also would be added there. Fine. Okay, let us see now overview what exactly this means. Database server, it would be a computer program which provides access, okay, through the client. Possibly again via network. Secondly, this database server divides their application. Like you have a server which is divided into different aspects, and those aspects are going to take care of many things. Okay, now what possibly those many things could be? There might be different things. There might be different things rather. Okay, but then whenever I'm worrying about the question. Okay, so like for example, when I start Postgres server, first question would be how many services are logged in with Postgres 11. Yes, can somebody tell me?
7.
Okay, now think of 1 plus 5 or 1 plus 6, whatever. Hmm?
1 plus 6, sir.
1 plus 6. Okay, now think of this. Why those remaining things are added? Hmm? There must be some reason about it. For every connection that you establish with Postgres, we saw that last time, like we tried 100 connections as per the settings. Can you recall that? Can you recall that? We talked about 100
Yes, sir.
connections. So we saw while we tried connecting with 100 connections, ultimately we could not connect many more. The reason behind is we were not having any access at all of the system, correct? Of the system. So whenever I'm trying to say access the data, ultimately it is creating these many services, and whenever I reach to that number, then my access gets stopped. My access gets stopped. Now whenever this setup is completely done at the installation point of time, the services would be divided into, or the Postgres service is divided into different services, and those services should take care of different aspects, and those different aspects, some of them probably may be like this. There would be a front end which is running on user's computer. So one client service is already there, which is permitting you to create service or to connect with the database. There would be some process among them, among those 6. One would be doing this or user authentication. One would be talking about transaction control. One would be concentrating on query optimization. One would be talking about database access as well. Now, such kind of you may say structure should be defined inside the code of your Postgres server. Correct. Now, how the access is definitely defined there. So we may have to go through the source code, but right now we are not interested into go to source code. This would be definitely permitting us to have as many services as you can, but ultimately with limits provided into PostgreSQL server. Now the limit already we addressed it, correct? The limit is already addressed by us. Okay. So let me move to next. Okay, now what that database server does? Database server has the name Postgres. So earlier it used to have some other name. Right now, across, no matter which version you have, it is having this as a name. If an application needs access to database, it has to connect with Postgres process. One Postgres process always manages the data from exactly one database cluster. And we already talked about it in the description. One cluster, one server, instance is managed. Now you use a PSQL, which is a client application. It is a terminal based. Okay, and it permits you multiple set of commands rather to get access or to gain access of different services. Fine. Okay. Now this database cluster is a directory on the disk. That means your data directory, where all database data would be stored. So in general referred as data area. Data in a cluster is stored as a collection of databases rather. Correct. A cluster database is managed by a single database server. So again, kind of repetition, but yes, it should be told, and it should be bombarded on us ultimately a number of times. After initialization, so when you install or when you create a cluster, a database cluster contains these 3 standard databases: Postgres template 1 and template 0. It will have some catalog tables common to the whole cluster. Like PG database, we access from any database. It should show you same result. But PG class may not show you same if you run across different databases. It is also a place where the databases will be created in the cluster. Okay, it would be providing you the space where the databases would be created by you or as a user. Now, what is meaning of that template 0, template 1 and Postgres? Postgres would be a default database for you to be used by the users so as to use even the utilities. Like for example, you must have seen like we fired a create DB command from the shell. And if at all I do write a command create database in PSQL, same thing is achieved there. Okay, like for example, so if I show you here, so if I write man create DB, what it is showing? You can try that on your laptop too. Man create DB. Now, whenever you fire this command, it will show you create a new PostgreSQL database. Now, there are some options. So it is used as a shell script or a program. So it shows you other options too. Now, this is a shell script. Similarly, when you go to PSQL and when you write create database, this is a SQL command. Correct? This is a SQL command. So create DB utility outside is added by the Postgres service or Postgres database. It permits you that access through the script. Fine. Okay. Like even there are other tools too. Like for example, if you quit from here and if you write create and then you press tab, these are at least these three: create lang, create user, and create DB are used by Postgres. These three are used by Postgres. You can use them by no need to log in with PSQL Postgres, but only thing like you have to add the user, you have to say super user. So mechanism is different for each command that you use here. Okay, let us go back. Yeah. So, so we said database Postgres is a default database which would be having utilities to be used by the system. Now this would be used by you for creating databases. There would be some utilities also added. Template 1 is a template from which new databases are created. Now this contains mainly objects like system catalog tables, public schema, user added objects like PL, PGSQL. This is a language that you use. So if you fire select star from PG_language, then you should be able to see the language as well. Let me show you that part too. So if you write PSQL and suppose you write select star from PG_language, you should be able to see these languages: internal, C, SQL, correct? Say this SQL and PL/PGSQL, correct? So these are the languages, and same things. You can create your own language too, provided you do have a code written for verification of that syntax, right? So it is, we are talking about that part from here. Yeah. So template 1 would be having this. Each new user defined database is made by copying content of template 1 database. Template 0 contains only predefined, not user added standard objects. You should not rather go and work with template 0 database. Okay. Now, if you try to do this, it may not tell you, or it may not give you access permission. Say for example, let me try on my laptop and show you like what happens if I try to. Okay, so let us see this. So if I write PSQL template 1, so it permitted me seeing this, correct? /q template 0. It says what? Database template 0 is not currently accepting connections. Similarly, if I try doing this for other third database, so it permits me the access because my user Nitin is a super user. How can I see that? Select star from PG user. You can see super user. Okay, Nitin is a super user with T. Postgres is a super user with T. But today and tomorrow, these are the two users which we added that day are not super users. Correct? That's why it is permitting me the access. Otherwise, it may not directly, because I created my Nitin as a super user. Yes. Okay, so I hope you understood what is importance of Postgres template 0 and template 1. Any question or query till this time?
No, sir.
No? So shall I move further? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now don't try this at home, whatever you see on the slide. Okay, right now don't try this at home, because like it should be done in some controlled environment. You can try, but if something happens, then you may have to reinstall. That's why I'm saying don't try this. Okay, so you have to follow these commands. So create direct, you have to first create a directory. Like for example, when you install Postgres, actually it created that PostgreSQL 11 main, that directory into through this make dir command. Then it created that directory, and then you have to write initdb -d and your cluster directory name, and then your user who is going to own that cluster. Provided you already added a super user there. Now you are creating another cluster. Start the database server. So like now 11 would be having different mechanisms to start, but this may be one mechanism. Okay, so the mechanism of starting the database server may vary from version to version. Okay, so you can disable the access to default Postgres server, Postgres cluster. Now currently we are using default Postgres cluster. So you can unset environment, unset env command. You can use it to disable that access. And then whenever you wanted to access the Postgres database in the new cluster, you write PSQL Postgres. And then it will be permitting you the access. Now we already saw this. What is to be done? PostgreSQL generates default schema public and system catalog for each new database. Right? Okay. So let me stop here today. Okay. So by the way, I will be sharing this contents rather on our Moodle course. Okay. So we'll continue again in the next session, probably tomorrow. Fine. Thank you very much.
Sir, attendance.
Hello.
अटेंडन्स मला दररोज अपडेट करायला लागते. तुम्ही लक्ष ठेवायचं. उद्या काय आहे? वाढदिवस आहे? नाही उद्या नाही, उद्या लेक्चर नाही आपलं. ठीक आहे. ओके. हाँ
हेलो.
यस.
सर अटेंडेंस का टाइम लेक्चर के बाद एक्सटेंड किया गया ना, मतलब हम पूरा लेक्चर में फोकस रहते हैं तो मार्क नहीं कर पाते.
ओके. नहीं क्या होता है फिर जो नहीं होता है ना वो भी मार्क कर देता है.
सर थोड़ा 5-10 मिनट एक्सटेंड कर दिया गया है.
ओके ठीक है. मैं अभी 55 तक कर रहा हूँ. बट क्या हो सकता है ना कि बंदा अटेंड नहीं किया और इधर दिख रहा है, तो ठीक है. एनीवे गुड. सो ऑलरेडी एडेड दैट, सो यू कैन सी दैट. फाइन.
थैंक यू सर.
Okay. Yeah. So see you tomorrow.